Somebody in the courtroom. We had a DC and male camera. All right, DDC, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can we start out with Fad Ali, please?
He has his own attorney.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's talking to an attorney now. Hold on, let me get.
Very expensive,
Yes.
very expensive.
Yes. Just snatch him out of there. All right, good afternoon, sir. What is your name?
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Fahad Hussein Sufyan Ali.
Okay, repeat that and say slowly. Speak slowly.
Fahad M. Ali.
All right, Mr. Ali, this is case
Yes, sir.
number 25056367. 01, People City, Michigan versus Fahd Ali. Appearances, please.
Thank you, Magistrate. Good afternoon, Steve Vincent, P 71917.
Good afternoon, Judge. My name is Ali Hamoud. My P number is 73076. I represent Mr. Ali, who's on screen.
All right, Mr. Ahmoud, you waiting for my reading, stand mute?
For the purpose of arraignment, Judge, we waive formal reading, stand mute to the charges.
All right, the court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of your client. Mr. Vincent, your bond recommendation?
Magistrate, first I have to say this. This isn't a flight issue. It appears as though the defendants retained very good counsel. This has strictly having to do with a dangerous component. We're going to be asking for we're going to be asking for 100,000 cash assurity. We're going to be asking for a tether as well as a curfew. And to be quite candid with the court, I'm only asking for the 100,000 based on the way it's charged. As you can see, it's being charged as a GBH and not the AWIM. And I'm sure counsel will go over this as well. The defendant has minimal prior past. I believe he ended up pleading to a couple of misdemeanor controlled substances in 18 and 19 respectively. Those were deferred under HIDA, taken care of. But in this particular situation, Magistrate, we have an individual allegedly dealing with somebody else who ended up stealing some merchandise out of a gas station. We have that individual who allegedly ended up taking that stuff and then fled the convenience store. And now we have a defendant who took it upon himself to chase that individual after that individual had already left the convenience store, chases him for a bit, and then apparently fires a gun that he was possessing, and fires it at the individual. And the reason why I say that is because allegedly there was another individual, at least one, who ended up witnessing the defendant firing his gun at that individual. That other individual, that civilian, actually was armed. He pulled out his own handgun, ordering this defendant to stop doing what he was doing. In the process, we have that victim who continues to run. Unfortunately, in this situation, that victim who ended up taking just whatever he did from the convenience store, that this defendant felt compelled to run after that individual and shoot at him. We have that individual who jumped over an overpass and lost his life. Judge, we find this defendant to be a clear and present danger. We had somebody at worst who was committing a retail fraud third. And we have a defendant who chased after that individual, firing his gun at that individual. Apparently some of this incident was caught on video, but we do have that witness who shot at that person and then that person losing their life. So respectfully, we're asking for that higher cash bond. And again, I have to reiterate this. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that counsel's involved in this. It sounds like he's very good counsel. This defendant, though, I think he's going to need somebody like this counsel because he created a very dangerous situation here.
Okay, Mr. Vincent, I've got a couple follow-up questions. So this is a convenience store. The decedent allegedly stole something. The report indicates that the defendant ran after him. The report indicates, I guess, two different versions. He says he fired it at the ground. I think there's also conjecture that he fired it at the decedent. So, and then the decedent runs and then jumps off the freeway. Is that correct?
That's my understanding as read in the investigator's report. He actually, in between jumping over the overpass and this defendant firing at him, allegedly we had that victim who was begging for his life for this defendant to stop shooting.
Okay, and also, Mr. Vincent, how many shots were fired? I think I just see one. Is there any more?
No, I believe that it states that there was one shot. Police ended up recovering that shell. Now, we do have the defendant saying he was firing into the ground. That in and of itself would create a danger, seeing as though they're outside where other people are. but we do have that witness, and we have another individual as well, magistrate. So in terms of conflicting testimony, we have two independent people who were involved in this, who are saying a story different than what this defendant ended up telling the police.
I got everything.
Okay, Mr. Ahmoud, response, please.
Judge, I think what the fellow counsel has stated is completely untrue. It took them 3.5 months to charge this case. You're telling me the Detroit Police Department, after interviewing my client, didn't keep him in custody for that long while they thought it was an assault with intent to murder, or maybe an assault with intent to get bodily harm. There's a fact that the police department looked at the camera and they seen that my client allegedly fired into the ground. And the reason this person died is because the police department, the Detroit Police Department, chased this young man and he threw himself over a bridge, Judge. And they're trying to justify it with this high bond and these high charges so they won't get sued. My client signed into the charge. He was defending himself, and that will be proven in court. He's got no prior criminal history. He's been out for 3.5 months. They did not arrest him at the time of the scene. They let him go because they thought it was in self-defense, and that's why he was released. And now 3.5 months later, they come up with these charges that are obviously serious in nature, Judge, but he's got nothing serious that will tell you that he's not going to show up to court. He's been out for 3.5 months, not one incident since then. I'm not seeking a personal bond. I understand the seriousness of the charge, Judge. But I'm obviously.
So, Mr. Ahmoud, Mr. Ahmoud, what bond are you seeking?
I definitely don't want a tether because the tether is going to keep him in there for 3 days, Judge. So I'll be seeking 50,000, 10%. I think that's more than fair for the current.
Is that affordable?
My client will come up with that, and his family members will help, Judge. Yes.
50,000 out of 10%?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Vincent, response?
Listen, I can understand defense counsel has to do his job. I wasn't, going into elaboration in terms of what ended up happening following this defendant firing his gun. That'll all get it, played out. And I don't know if it's completely fair to posture this case the way defense counsel just did, because at the floor of this,
Okay.
we have a defendant. Well, no, let me just finish this.
Okay.
We have a defendant who ended up chasing an individual for a petty retail fraud case and firing a gun in public. So that's putting the community at risk, let alone that complaining witness.
Well, looking at this objectively, gentlemen, you have somebody who's committing a crime in a store. It is not uncommon for the merchant to go after that person. And oftentimes it's not uncommon, although it shouldn't happen like this to this degree. Oftentimes they do have a weapon. Oftentimes. And they gave chase or whatever. And based on Mr. Ahmoud's representations, and based on also indications in the report, it's conflicting, and this will be fleshed out at the later court date, whether he shot at the decedent or gave a warning shot. Now, I don't know what happened. There's a video of this, and I said all this will be flushed out. But I'm inclined to believe, based on my experience, that if he just shot one time, he gave a warning shot. If he intended to shoot and shot at the ground, if he intended to do serious bodily harm or perhaps even murder, it has been my experience and observation, just living in the city and living this life for quite a long time, that he would have fired multiple shots. Now, are there exceptions to that? Yes. Now, also with that fact is that Mr. Ali does not have a criminal record. Well, that bodes well in his favor as well. And like I said, and the fact that he's retained a counsel, I'm sure he's going to make sure he comes to court. Now, to your point, as far as the danger to the community, Mr. Vincent, I think that's debatable based on these facts. As I indicated previously, there's no dispute, at least at this point, that only one shot was fired. And according to the report, and I saw Mr. Ali nod his head, he fired it into the ground, which suggests to this court it was a warning shot. As I indicated before, if he had seen and wanted to do great bodily harm or perhaps even kill him, it would have been multiple shots, perhaps even triggering ShotSpotter, which may or may not have been triggered in this incident. I don't know. But all those factors, I'm going to give Mr. Ali the benefit of the doubt and give him the bond that his counsel asked for, which would be a $50,000 cash surety, 10%. While his case is pending, sir, you're not to possess any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons. I assume this is an affordable bond. Mr. Amu, what would you like me to do? Would you want me to schedule a unaffordable bond hearing for Wednesday? Just to make sure in case your client doesn't pay, or what would you like me to do?
Yes, Judge, yes, I'd appreciate that.
Okay. All right. The court will schedule this for a bond redetermination hearing on Wednesday, March 19th, 9 a.m. in front of Chief Judge McConaughey. Mr. Ali, if your family is able to post bond between now and then, between today and tomorrow, you don't have to come for, you'll be released, and that bond redetermination hearing will be moot at this point. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Probable cause to be March 27th. Preliminary examination be April 1st, both in front of Judge Jefferson. Mr. Vincent, Mr. Ahmoud, is there anything else you want to put on the record?
Nothing from the people. Thank you, Magistrate.
Okay.
Thank you,
And
Judge.
if I didn't make this clear, Mr. Ali, you're not possessing any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons while this case is pending. If you have no further questions, please step aside.
I have one question, Your Honor. If I post bail tonight, would it be possible?
I'll tell your parent, I'll tell your family, don't worry, just get up the line.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Judge.
job, Mr. Ahmoud. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, DDC, straight down the list.
Dominic Hill.
Dominique Hill. All right. This is case number 2505644-501. Houston, Michigan versus Dominique Hill. Appearances, please.
Steve Vincent for the people.
Good afternoon, Christina Harris, P52857, on behalf of Dominic Hill, who stands mute, waives formal reading of the complaint, and understands and has explained his statutory and constitutional rights.
Court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Hill by recommendation from the people.
Serious but not assaultive. We're not going to be objecting to a personal.
Objection to a personal bond.
All right, $5,000 personal bond, Mr. Hill. While this case is pending, you're not to possess any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons. Probable cause will be March 24th in front of Judge Kevin Robbins. Preliminary examination, March 31st in front of Judge Jefferson. Please step aside.
Stand right here. All right. Go ahead, sit on that line.
What is your name, sir?
Davon Hardy, sir.
Hardy, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hardy, you have some traffic matters in which you failed to appear in court for, sir. As a result of your failure to appear, warrants for your arrest were issued. The court's going to set aside these arrest warrants, give you a personal bond in each of these misdemeanor matters that carries a maximum penalty of up to 90 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. And then you say can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. You can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed on behalf. The tickets are P1002898, failed display valid operator's license. Ticket P1445009, driving a registered motor vehicle. Ticket P 1614928, failed display valid operator's license. Ticket P 1636707, driving license suspended and driving unregistered motor vehicle. Ticket P 1649709, driving license suspended. Ticket 455339, no operator's license and no insurance on person. And each of these misdemeanor matters, so you're getting a personal bond, no dollar amount. Pretrial will be April 15th in front of Judge Millhouse. All right, now to your main matter. Calling case number 250-564-5001, People State of Michigan versus Javon Hardy. Appearances, please.
Good afternoon, Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
Good
Christina
afternoon.
Harris, on behalf of Javon Hardy, who stands mute, waives the formal reading, and understands and has been advised of his statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Hardy. Bond recommendation, Mrs. Coyle.
Your Honor, this is an RNO in which he resisted a little bit of resistance to cuffing and then fled on foot. No objection to a $10,000 personal bond in this matter.
No objection to that bond recommendation.
All right, $10,000 personal bond, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, sir.
Your court dates are March 27th, probable cause, April 2nd, preliminary examination, both in front of Judge Taylor. Mr. Hardy, do you have any questions regarding your bond and or court dates?
Yes, can you say the court date one more time, please, sir?
You have two court dates, probable cause, March 27th, and preliminary examination, April 2nd, both in front of Judge Marlena Taylor. Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
All right, have a good day. Step aside.
Stand right here for me. All right. My next.
I'm sorry?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, what's your name, sir?
Anthony Martinez Guilford.
Gilbert?
Guilford, yes.
Guilford, okay. All right, Mr. Guilford, you have some traffic matters in which you failed to appear in court for. As a result of your failure to appear, warrants for your arrest were issued. The court's going to set aside these arrest warrants, give you a personal bond, and these misdemeanor matters. It carries a maximum penalty for up to 90 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. And then you say can and will be against you. You have right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed on your behalf. Tickets, Mr. Guilford, are P1080032, failed display valid operator's license. Ticket P1085848, no insurance misdemeanor, driver license suspended. Ticket P1117983, driver license suspended. Ticket P1208164, driver's license never required. Ticket P1263065, driver license suspended. Ticket P1299824, driver's license never required. Ticket P1318039, driver license not valid. Ticket P1450043, driver license never required. Ticket P1615708, failed display valid operator's license. Ticket 721501, driver license suspended, no insurance. And each of these misdemeanor matters, sir, you're getting a personal bond, no dollar amount. Pretrial will be April 15th for the Judge Sean Perkins. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now to your main case. This case number 2505644-801. People State of Michigan versus Anthony Guilford. Appearances, please.
And for Douglas for the people, P72748.
Good afternoon, Christina Harris on behalf of Anthony Guilford, who stands and waives the formal reading of the complaint and understands and has been advised of his statutory and constitutional rights.
The court will not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Guilford. Bond recommendation, Ms. Douglas, I'm sorry.
No objection to 5,000 personal, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Guilford, the court's going to give you a $5,000 personal bond in this matter. While this case is pending, you're not to possess any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons.
Yes, Your Honor.
Probable cause, March 25th in front of Judge Kevin Robbins. Preliminary examination, April 1st in front of Judge Jefferson. You have any questions regarding your bond and or court date, sir?
No, sir. No, Your Honor.
All right, step aside. Have a good day, sir. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hamlet, step up, please.
Hold on.
All right, DDC, I'll be with you one moment. I gotta walk in. Oh, what did I do with you? All right. All right, Mr. Hamlet, state your name for the record. All right, this is case number 25044640001. Citizen Michigan versus Brian Hamlet. Appearances, please.
Thank you, Magistrate. Steve Vincent for the people.
Christina Harris on behalf of Brian Michael Hamlet, who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint, and has been advised of and understands his statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Hamlet. On recommendation from the people.
First off, Magistrate, we just want to thank the defendant for walking in to take care of this. We don't feel as though he's a flight risk. However, we do feel as though he poses a danger to the community. Respectfully, we're going to be asking for an alcohol tether. If we get that, we're not going to be objecting to a personal bond. As you can see, this defendant's facing 2 counts. The first one of which is that high blood alcohol content second offense, as well as an OWI second offense. And here we have a defendant who apparently ended up causing a motor vehicle accident on the freeway. He rear-ended an individual allegedly because he couldn't stop. He was going too fast. And then subsequent to the accident, allegedly, he ends up leaving his vehicle only to discard a bag of multiple cognac bottles, one of which was opened. After the police ended up doing their investigation, apparently the defendant was found to have respectively a 0.201 and a 0.199 blood alcohol level. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but seeing as though this is a second offense notice, as well as the fact this only happened about 3 months ago, we're requesting that alcohol tether in order to protect the community.
And just for clarification, he was previously convicted of drunk driving in 2019. Is that correct?
I have February 26, 19 out of Southgate.
Right. Okay. Ms. Harris, please address the issue of whether I should not give him an alcohol tether in light of his the second one conviction and second allegation of driving intoxicated with a relatively high blood alcohol level, please.
Mr. Hamlet understands the importance of returning for all court hearing dates. Our office will be following him with representation in this matter. He is employed on a full-time basis at Detroit. Well, I won't say the name of it. He's a heavy equipment operator. So I don't know if a tether would be appropriate for
Alcohol tether.
All right.
That's
So
what I want you.
I'm
That's what I want you to specifically address. Why should I not have him be fitted with an alcohol tether?
Because as I'll reiterate what I was saying, is that being a heavy equipment operator, I don't know if that will impact his employment. And yes, he does have a previous offense, but it was 7 years ago, Your Honor. So for that reason, I am asking, of course, for the personal bond and no alcohol tether.
Well, Ms. Harris, I'm concerned about your client having a substance abuse issue, and whether I think an argument could be made that having an alcohol tether at least assures the safety of the community, that if he goes to work and works machinery, he won't endanger himself or anybody else. And if he has a valid driver's license, that he remains sober. And so that's the concern
no
of this
allegations
court.
or any finding that on his job that he has engaged in any use of alcohol.
No, I know. That's not my major concern. I'm saying is that that's a byproduct of him having an alcohol tether, is that he remain not only sober if he chooses to drive, he has a valid license, he remains sober at his job. That's not my primary concern. My primary concern, if he's driving with intoxicants or anything illegal in the system, endangering the lives of the community. And I'm waiting to hear, I want to hear between that 2019 and this past December, what steps he has made to address any or possible substance abuse issues he may have.
Well, I don't know that, but I just know that he has not had any contacts or any arrests from 2019 to the present day for drinking related offenses. And that's
Okay.
been 7 years.
Six.
6, thank you, my math, Mr. Vincent.
All right, the court's gonna give him a $10,000 personal bond. No alcohol, no driving without a valid license. The court's gonna fit you with an alcohol tether. Given the high level of blood alcohol content in this incident alleged, the court is concerned that you may have a substance abuse issue. And so to ensure the safety of the community and making sure, I'm not saying you are, as Ms. Harris alleges, this is gonna make sure that you can stay sober at all times, whether you're driving or at work or whatever. I think for your own safety, and Ms. Harris is correct, there's no allegations that you were intoxicated at work. And that's not the court's primary concern, is when you're driving with anything in your system. Now, I will give you 48 hours to turn yourself in. To be fitted with tether. Your pretrial date will be March 31st in front of Judge Bryant. Mr. Hamlet, do you have any questions regarding your bond and or court dates?
No, sir.
All right, have a seat in the courtroom and wait for your paperwork.
And Your Honor, of course, the court
Okay.
will direct him as to where and how to be fitted within the next 48 hours.
I believe he's still to go to the jail to do so.
Okay. Is there some documentation or some paperwork for that?
I believe there is.
Okay, thank you.
The second one.
Okay. All right, gentlemen of DDC, what is your name?
Mr. Pope.
Smidgen Pope, is that right?
Mr. Pope.
Smidgen Pope, excuse me. All right, Mr. Pope, you have some traffic matters in which you failed to appear in court for. As a result of your failure to appear, warrants for your arrest were issued. The court's going to set aside these arrest warrants, give you a personal bond in each of these misdemeanor matters that carries a maximum penalty or up to 90 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed on your behalf. Tickets are P1187361, open alcohol and motor vehicle. Ticket P1404564. A driver's license expired. Ticket U11989113. Alcohol-related violations. Ticket V132553. Dangerous behavior in the community. And then V132554, leaving a dog without a leash. Ticket 155361951952952. Driver license not valid, no insurance, misdemeanor. On each of these misdemeanor tickets, you're given a personal bond, no dollar amount. Pretrial, April 14th in front of Judge Ramsey Heath. Now to your main matter. This is case number 250-564-5301. People said Michigan versus Smidgen Pope. Pearson, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
Christina Harris on behalf of Smidgen Pope, who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint and understands and has been explained to his statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will tonight good to plead on behalf of Mr. Pope. Final recommendation, Mrs. Coyle.
Under the people are asking for a 5,000 cash surety with the tether in this matter. It appears that Mr. Pope has a pending case out in Macomb County. It's an R&O as well. His bond is, I believe, 25,000 cash surety, 10%. He has a pretrial in front of Judge Servito on April 14th of 25. As the court has read, this is a result of a domestic violence run, and which he not only swatted at the officer's hand, he was a little bit out of control because he struck his head against a partition in the scout car until his forehead was bleeding. He also has a prior 2015 OWI. I don't know if this is a result of any drinking in this matter, Your Honor, but based on the fact he has 2 pending R&Os, this is a result of a domestic violence run, although he's not charged with that. It is assaulted against the officer. And for those reasons, Your Honor, I'm asking for the 5,000 cash surety with a tether.
Mrs. Coyle, did he post that bond in the other court?
Yes, I believe so. And Ms. Harris can verify that for me. I'm not sure.
Ms. Harris, did he post that bond in the?
I do not know. I can ask you. Mr. Pope, did you post bond in Roseville?
Party.
Did you, Mr.? Okay, thank you. So to respond to council's bond recommendation, I'd like to state that Mr. Pope has no history of absconding or not appearing for his court hearings. He is employed on a full-time basis as a carpenter and plumber with the general contracting company. In this case, he's charged with resisting and obstructing. He's not charged with domestic violence. And any case having to do with operating while impaired or drinking and driving from years ago is not relevant here. There's no indication anywhere that he was intoxicated using alcohol or drugs or of any kind. No indication that he was intoxicated. The issue here with respect to the 4 corners of the police report is that he swatted the police officer's hand away. And with respect to other damage, he was damaging more to himself than anyone else. He didn't assault anyone else or anything else aside from swatting the officer's hand away. So for that reason, we're asking for a personal bond and don't see the necessity of a tether at all, because he won't be contacting this police officer and trying to have any contact with this officer. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, I'm looking at the ROA out of Macomb, and it's unusual because it says on 220, it says personal bond furnished by defendant amount, and it says, you know what? Maybe I read it wrong. It looks like he is on a personal bond. It says personal bond furnished by defendant amount 25,000 cash surety 10%. So maybe that's the way it's written. Is it's a 25,000. It doesn't make sense. Cash surety 10% personal. But it is written, and like I said, if he didn't post, and he went
But he
to a
indicated that he
pretrial,
did not post any money.
And it said that he went to his pretrial on the 10th, and it said bond continued. So the question is he out? Did he walk in, or is he been in jail the whole time? The fact that he's in the DDC tells me that there's a personal bond. And then now there needs to be, since he's on personal bond, there needs to be a cash bond. But either way, he's looking at 2 separate R&Os in 2 separate communities.
All right. This is what the court finds particularly troubling. I'm reading the first paragraph on page 2 of the investigator's report. Officer Heaton heard what sounded like a female yelling from the rear of the location. The front door was eventually opened by the defendant, who was irate and stated there were no females in the location aside from his disabled mother. The officer informed the defendant of the police run and asked if he could check on the female to ensure she was okay. The defendant stepped out from the front door, closing it behind him. The defendant stepped close to Officer Heaton pointed in his face and told him that he should not be there. Officer Heaton asked the defendant to step away from him, to which Officer Heaton himself stepped back. The defendant stepped into Officer Heaton's face, to which Officer Heaton raised his hand towards him, the defendant, to create distance. The defendant swatted Officer Heaton's hand away, then he placed him under arrest. And then when he's in the back of the police car, he continually struck his head against the partition, causing a bleeding injury. And then later on, in admissions and confessions, on the last page, the defendant kept repeating that he, meaning the officer, shouldn't have touched him. The defendant further stated, "Reach for me. If I smacked his hand, that's probably what I would have did sober." Towards the end of the interrogation, the defendant said, "I assaulted him, but it's not an assault on his half when he tried to touch me." What I find particularly, I guess, confusing is if reach for me, if I smacked his hands, that's probably what I would have did sober. I don't know what to make of that. A weird reference to being sober versus intoxicated. It seems like the police officers were just there to check on a safety check for the person, and it seems like Mr. Pope, instead of cooperating with the police, was very, very disagreeable, didn't allow them to make sure somebody was safe, and struck an officer.
That's why I said, I don't know if alcohol was an issue. It's not clear.
Yeah.
Based on that, but I did note the prior 2015 OWI conviction. And
what was the bond request you're seeking, Mrs. Coyle?
I'm asking for 5,000 cash surety with a tether.
And I'm asking for a personal bond.
Okay, I'm going to grant the people's request in this matter. It is one thing when police officers, I can understand being in a situation where it could be somewhat confrontational with police officers, particularly when you don't want them at your house. I get that. And in a civil society, you have a civil discourse, and it looks like by all accounts, although I'm pretty sure the body cam will either confirm or deny this, that the officers are just trying to do their job, heard a woman screaming, and was just trying to make sure of her safety. And it's one thing for Mr. Pope to be disagreeable or whatever, but I think you cross the line when you physically assault a police officer. And it's not clear whether alcohol was involved in this. That statement he allegedly made in confession is particularly troublesome. And I think I find, the court just find that's troublesome. And if you can do that to a police officer, I can imagine what happens when any civilian, that if they hear a woman screaming and come to the aid, what he or she might do to that person as well. So I do find him a danger to the community. A $5,000 cash surety bond, no alcohol while his case is pending. You're also not to possess any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons. Bond redetermination will be Wednesday, March 19th, 9 a.m. in front of Chief Judge McConaughey. Probable cause March 27th in front of Judge Jefferson. Preliminary examination April 1st in front of Judge Jefferson. Mr. Pope, do you have any questions regarding your bond and/or court dates? Is that a no?
I think 5,000 a little extreme. Yeah, sure.
I'd imagine you would, but this is not statement time. Do you have any questions regarding your bond and/or court dates?
That was my question. My question was, why is it so high?
Because I believe you're a danger to the public, sir. Please step aside. Which one? What happened to Macomb?
We don't know about number 2.
Okay, hold on. Azia Adu? I know number 2 was here, is here.
I don't know where she is. We don't know.
We don't know.
Number 2 was interviewed.
Is she still in the building?
She needs to be in the courtroom.
How are you, ma'am?
Hi.
How do you pronounce your name?
You.
Both names.
Adu.
Adu?
The J to A side of
Is that West African?
Jamaica.
Oh, excuse me. My apologies.
Yes, Your Honor, number 2 is still in the building.
Okay, can she come in the courtroom, please?
A colleague has gone to get her. Thank you.
Okay, this is, ma'am, state your name for the record.
Via Adu.
All right, this is case number 240-458-4701. Police of Michigan versus Zia Adu. Appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
Christina Harris, on behalf of Azia Adu, who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint, and has been advised of and understands her statutory and constitutional rights.
The court will order not guilty plea on behalf of Ms. Adu. Bond recommendation, Mrs. Coyle.
Your Honor, this dates back about a year ago. This does involve a crash. She did admit to drinking. Her blood alcohol level was a 166, which is pretty high, twice the legal limit. But I do not see any OWIs prior or subsequent to this. And also, this was issued probably 5 months after. But with that being said, people are requesting $20,000 personal bond, no alcohol, no driving without a valid license.
No objection to that recommendation.
All right, $20,000 personal bond, no alcohol, ma'am, while this case is pending, no driving without a valid license. Pretrial will be March 31st in front of Judge Bryant. Do you have any questions regarding your bond and or court dates?
No, so I'll come back to court March 30th.
31st. Okay, what's your court date?
March 31st,
What time?
8:30.
Okay, what judge?
I need that one.
Bryant.
Right.
Okay, have a seat, wait for your paperwork.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Diamond McComb. Hello, good afternoon. State your name for the record.
My name is Diamond Cashmere McComb.
Cashmere. Okay. You speak fast, I listen slow. I thought I heard cash. All right, Ms. McComb, you have some traffic matters which you failed to appear in court for. As a result of your failure to appear, a warrant for your arrest was issued. The court's going to set aside the arrest warrant, give you a personal bond in this misdemeanor matter that carries a maximum penalty of up to 93 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be against you. You have the right to an attorney. Can a foreign attorney one will be appointed on behalf. The ticket is P1185877. No insurance misdemeanor. We'll have a pretrial on this ticket April 14th in front of Judge Michael Wagner. Is that clear?
Okay. What day?
April 14th in front of Judge Wagner.
Okay.
That'll be a Monday. Is that clear? All right, now to your main matter. This is case number 250-446-2801. Peterson Michigan versus Diamond Cashmere McComb. Appearances, please.
Jennifer Douglas for the people, P72748.
Christina Harris, on behalf of Diamond Cashmere McComb, who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint, been advised of and understands her statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will order not guilty plea on behalf of Ms. McComb. Bond recommendation.
For $10,000 personal bond, we would just ask for no contact with the complaining witness in the location. They appear to live together, not have any prior convictions. So, Your Honor, no objection to $10,000 personal.
Your Honor, no objection to the $10,000 personal bond. That address that's listed, that is Ms. McComb's residence. The witness does not live at that address. That is her home. She lives there alone with her children.
All right, if I read this correctly, they're brother and sister live together. at least at this point in time, when did he allegedly move out, Ms. Harris?
Ms.
Or has he
McComb-
moved out?
Yes, he has not lived there since the date of that alleged incident.
And prior to this incident, Ms. McComb, how long did you live with your brother?
I told him he could live with me for 2 months, but it ended up being 4.
And this is over some chicken you had a fight over, allegedly? Okay, give me one moment.
I came in because Ms. McComb was speaking. I could not hear what she was saying.
Okay. She answered my question in terms of brother and living there.
And I don't have any other address for him.
Yeah. All right, Ms. McComb, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to give you a $10,000 personal bond. You cannot go back to the canceled address if your brother is there. Okay?
That's my residence.
Okay, ma'am, I understand that. Your attorney's made that abundantly clear. I just want to make sure for the record, if he is present there, you cannot go back there. If you say he's no longer there, you have no problems with the court in terms of going back there. I just want to make that clear. Does she understand it, Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Pre-trial will be March 31st in front of Judge Bryant. Ms. McComb, do you have any questions regarding your bond and or court dates?
Is that in person or Zoom, Your Honor?
I believe it's Zoom. Any questions regarding bond and or court dates? Okay, Ms. McComb, have a seat, wait for your paperwork. All right, DDC, who's next?
Thank you, patience. Go ahead, send the black lines. Good.
Carlos Davis, sir.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Davis.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, you have some traffic matters which you failed to appear in court for. As a result of your failure to appear, warrants for your arrest were issued. The court's going to set aside these arrest warrants. You approach the bond in these misdemeanor matters that carries a maximum penalty of up to 93 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be against you, and a right to an attorney. Can afford an attorney, one will report on your behalf. Give me one moment for your tickets. The tickets are P1400469. Charged with urination, defecation in public. You will have a pretrial April 14th in front of Judge Millicent Sherman. You understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now to your main matter. This is case number 250-564-5501. Houston, Michigan versus Carlos Davis. Appearances, please.
Steve Vincent for the people.
Christina Harris on behalf of Carlos Rodrigo Davis Jr., who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint, and has been advised of and understands the statutory and constitutional rights.
The court will deny guilty plea on behalf of the client. Bond recommendation, Mr. Vincent.
Magistrate, it's serious, but non-assaultive. You can see his have notice. I mean, there's a clear, yeah.
It's extensive. It's extensive.
Well, but it all has to do with, with narcotics. I mean, I have that
Right.
09, yeah.
Right. I'm well aware of that.
I have that. I looked into that warrant that's out for his arrest out of Dearborn Heights for the OWI R&O. He hasn't been arraigned on that yet, so not going to hold it against him. So at this time, Judge, I guess we just won't be objecting to a personal bond with any conditions you feel are appropriate.
Thank you. Mr. Davis understands the importance of returning for all court hearing dates. Despite his history,
Ms.
he-
Harris,
there's
Ms. Harris,
no,
Ms. Harris, do you object to the personal bond?
well, I was getting to that. There's advocacy on my behalf, on my part, on behalf.
My
of Mr.
question,
Davis.
Ms. Harris, do you have an objection to a personal bond?
I
Yes
do
or no?
not have an objection to a personal bond, but I still have a duty to advocate for this client, Your Honor. So I'll listen to the
What
court.
more, Ms. Harris, what more do you have to advocate for the client when there's no agreement, no disagreement is going to get a personal bond?
I don't know if there's disagreement, but the court has to make its ruling.
There
Just
is none.
because-
You don't object to it. Mr.
I'm
Vincent
just
asked
saying,
for it.
just
What-
because
what
Mr.
more-
Vincent has
what
made
more
a
can you say
recommendation.
to help your client?
Just because Mr. Vincent has made a recommendation doesn't necessarily mean that the court was going to agree and adopt it. Not always.
I said I'm going to adopt the personal bond. Is there any objection from you? Do you agree?
Now, that's the first time I've heard that. So no, I do not disagree.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
$10,000 personal bond. While his case is pending, no drugs. Probable cause, March 27th, preliminary examination, April 3rd, both in front of Judge Taylor. Step aside, Mr. Davis.
Oh, all right. Come on, bro. Where you liking that, bro? Like that.
What's your name, sir?
Terrell Barnes, Your Honor.
Repeat that.
Terrell Barnes.
Okay, Mr. Barnes, you have some traffic matters which you failed to appear in court for, sir. As a result of your failure to appear, court will set aside these arrest warrants, give you a personal bond, and each of these misdemeanor matters that carries a maximum penalty of up to 90 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be against you. You have the right to an attorney. Can afford an attorney, one will be appointed on behalf. The tickets are P118380 driver license suspended, no insurance misdemeanor. Ticket P118430 fair display of valid operator's license. Ticket P130125 driver license suspended, no insurance misdemeanor. Ticket P13533935 driver license never required, driving a registered motor vehicle. Ticket P1419473 driving with revoked license. Ticket P1423704 driving a registered motor vehicle, no insurance misdemeanor, driving with a revoked license. Ticket P1578628 driving with a revoked license. Ticket U631-19122. Trespassing. Ticket 716426. No operator's license on person, no insurance. And each of these misdemeanor matters, Mr. Barnes, you're getting a personal bond, no dollar amount. Pre-trial for April 14th in front of Judge Tanisha Yancey. Now to your main matters. Case number 250-447-6401. Piece of the Michigan versus Terrell Barnes. Appearances, please.
Jennifer Douglas for the people, P72748.
Christina Harris on behalf of Terrell Tyrone Barnes, who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint, and has been advised of and understands the statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will not good to appear on behalf of Mr. Barnes. Ms. Douglas, what's your bond recommendation?
Your Honor, Mr. Barnes, I wouldn't object to a personal bond. However, I am asking for a tether with a curfew. Mr. Barnes is currently on probation. According to Otis, he's been on probation since February 2nd of 2024 for an R&O. Your Honor, he does have an extensive history, including theft charges. He has a 2021 fleeing third degree. He has a 2017 two
Ms.
convictions.
Douglas, you don't have to go through his criminal history. Okay. The basis for the tether, though, why do you want the tether?
Your Honor, the investigator's report indicates that the owner says that Mr. Barnes has been there multiple times, that he steals from there multiple times, and that he at times threatens the staff. So, Your Honor, we do have concerns about him going back there. He's currently on probation, so already under some level of supervision. So we're asking for Tyler with a curfew to ensure that he does not return there and the safety of the people at that location.
All right, thank you. Ms. Harris, if you have no objection, I'm going to give him a personal bond. Please address the issue of whether I should not give him a tether to make sure he stays away from this location.
Mr. Bonds understands the importance of not returning to that location, and he says that he will not. The location is not closer to missing court or abscond.
That's not an issue. I don't believe he's a flight risk, and that was not a gas station location. All right. Okay, I agree. I will take you at your word, Ms. Harris. I'm not going to give him a tether at this point in time, but that is subject to change. Mr. Barnes, stay away from that sicko gas station. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you fail to do so, you may be fitted with a tether or may be incarcerated in the pendency of this case. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, $5,000 personal bond, no GPS tether. Pretrial, March 28th, in front of Judge Jones. Stay away from the sicko gas station. All right, do you have any questions regarding your bond and/or court dates, Mr. Barnes?
March 28th, correct?
That's correct. Pretrial in front of Judge Jones. Step aside.
Where you liking it, bro? Roger Scott.
Roderick Scott Jr.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Scott, you have some traffic matters which you failed to appear in court for, sir. As a result of your failure to appear, warrants for arrest were issued. The court's going to set aside these arrest warrants, give you a personal bond on this misdemeanor matter. It carries a maximum penalty of up to 93 days in jail and/or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be appointed on behalf. The ticket is P1360271, failed display of valid operator's license and driving unregistered, untitled motor vehicle. You have a pretrial court date, April 15th, in front of Judge Roberta Archer in this matter. And again, as I stated before, you get a personal bond, no dollar amount. Is that clear, Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the other ticket you have is 402267. No operator's license on person. Again, personal bond, no dollar amount, April 15th in front of Judge Archer. What's your court date for the ticket, sir?
April 15th.
All right, good job. This is not your main matter. Case number 23063. Strike that. Case number 23060332201. Pearson, Michigan versus Roger Scott Jr. Appearances, please.
Lisa Coyle appearing on behalf of the people.
Christina Harris on behalf of Roderick Scott Jr., who stands mute, waives the formal reading of the complaint, and understands and has been advised of his statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will enter a not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Scott. Bond recommendation, Mrs. Coyle?
Your Honor, although that the police stopped him because he matched the description of an armed robbery suspect, he failed to obey their commands to stop, and they had to taser him, in which a gun was found on him. But the result of the police investigation, when he was not the person in the suspected armed robbery. I do not see any capious history in this matter, Your Honor. Although this bet is back from 2023, I see nothing further. So based on that, Your Honor, I'm asking for $10,000 personal.
No objection.
Okay. Mr. Scott, I can identify with what you went through. When I had hair and no gray hair, I've got stopped multiple times in my 20s by various police departments because I fit the description. So I empathize with you on that. But nonetheless, you had a gun in your possession. They're going to give you a $10,000 personal bond. While his case is pending, sir, you're not to possess any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons. Probable cause, March 27th in front of Judge Jefferson. Preliminary examination, April 2nd in front of Judge Jefferson. Mr. Scott, do you have any questions regarding your bond and/or court date, sir?
I was just, when the police brought me in, they was just telling me that I was just supposed to get a court date that I'll be released, cause I didn't get a bar the previous time that I was here.
Okay, sir, you're gonna get a,
Mr.
you're
Scott?
getting a personal bond. Go ahead, Ms. Harris.
Mr. Scott, you're getting a personal bond. Please preserve your right to remain silent. You will be released without having to pay any money.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, sir, what's your name?
Think we'll know.
What's your T-shirt say?
Hellstar.
I'm sorry?
Hellstar.
All right, Mr. Nolan, you have some traffic matters which you failed to appear in court for, sir. As a result of your failure to appear, warrant for arrest were issued. The court's going to set aside these arrest warrants, give you a personal bond, and each of these misdemeanor matters carries a maximum penalty of up to 93 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will, you have the right to an attorney, can afford an attorney one more point on behalf. So bear with me, sir. You got a lot of tickets. P11235556, driver license suspended. Ticket P1269011, driver license suspended. Ticket P1336554, driver license not valid. Ticket P1534999, driving the registered motor vehicle, driver license suspended. Ticket P1100503, violation of restricted license. Ticket P1109774, improper plates. Ticket P1279223, driver license not valid. Ticket P1292757, improper plates, failed display valid operator's license. Ticket P1518908, driver license suspended, repeat offender. Ticket P1243571, driver license not valid. Ticket P1251517, driver license not valid. Ticket P138661, driver license suspended, driving the registered motor vehicle. Ticket P1445559, driver license suspended, repeat offender. Ticket P1534519, driver license suspended, no insurance misdemeanor. Ticket P1542575, driver license suspended, failed display of valid operator's license. Ticket P1574489, driver license suspended. Ticket P1243523, driver license suspended. Ticket P1286935, driver license not valid, no insurance misdemeanor. And finally, P1296553, driver license not valid. In each of these misdemeanor matter, traffic matter, sir, you're given a personal bond or dollar amount. Pre-trial will be April 15th in front of Judge Millhouse. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
What's the court date for these tickets?
April 15th.
Good job. All right, now to your main matter. Calling case number 250-564-5601. Houston, Michigan versus Jay Nolan. Appearances, please.
Jennifer Douglas for the people, P72748.
Christina Harris, on behalf of Jay Nolan, who stands mute, waives a formal reading of the complaint and has been explained and understands the statutory and constitutional rights.
All right, the court will enter not guilty plea on behalf of Mr. Nolan. Bond recommendation, Ms. Douglas?
Your Honor, Mr. Nolan, the people wouldn't object to a 50,000 personal bond, but we are asking for tether and a curfew. We would note that Mr. Nolan is currently on high to probation for receiving, concealing stolen property motor vehicle since February of last year. We may note here there's an allegation that Mr. Nolan was driving at high speeds to evade the police, going as high as 80 miles an hour in residential areas, Your Honor, to the point that the police had to have the chopper follow Mr. Nolan again for safety reasons, so that to reduce the risk of crashes, which is what they use the chopper for. So, Your Honor, here we have an allegation that Mr. Nolan also threw a firearm out a window, which could have led to injury if that gun had not been recovered. When we look at all of these things together, Mr. Nolan does appear to be a danger. We would also note that his license is suspended, and he allegedly admitted to police he had been driving and that he knew his license was suspended. So, Your Honor, we do have concerns about Mr. Nolan following the requirements of his bond conditions, And so we are asking for tethering or curfew to ensure the safety of the public and to prevent any flight risk.
Okay, so just the, Miss Douglas, the sun is blowing out. You look like you have a halo over you.
You know what? That's
You look so
natural.
angelic. Yes. All right, there you go. The halo is now removed. All right, response, Ms. Harris.
Thank you. Mr. Nolan understands the importance of returning for all 4 hearings. He is in compliance with his HIDA probation and has been since 2022. He works in a body repair shop, an auto body repair shop, and no objection to the personal bond. However, with respect to working in an auto body repair shop, we're asking for no tether, and he doesn't have any history of not appearing in court, so we're asking for no tether.
How long has he had his job?
I beg your pardon?
How long has he had his job?
I can ask him. Mr. Nolan, how long have you worked in that body repair shop?
For over a year.
And how many days do you work?
4 days out the week.
How do you get to work? I'm sorry?
A ride.
All right, I'm not gonna give you a tether at this point. $50,000 personal bond, no driving, sir. You're not possessing any handguns, firearms, or other dangerous weapons. And you better continue to get rides to work or Uber, or we're gonna have some problems. You understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, probable cause, March 27th, preliminary examination, April 2nd, both in front of Judge Jefferson. Please step aside. I missed the halo, Ms. Douglas.
I lost internet connection, Your Honor, so.
Probable cause, March 27th, preliminary examination, April 2nd, both in front of Judge Jefferson. Any questions regarding your bond and/or court dates, Mr. Robinson?
No, sir.
All right, step aside, please.